All right. Hello to people in the future. If you're watching this, we are talking about security concepts. And yeah, to know what is it actually. Let me I prepare last night I was preparing some notes actually. Let me find my notes. Sorry guys, I'm preparing my screen on this other side. All right. Today we're going to talk about security. That's day one that you have, and basically you finished with the module of database. So yesterday was the last day of database, MongoDB. So you know pretty much whatever you need to know, and now it's time the security. Yeah. Actually, the security concept is. It's just security is very massive and extremely complex topic. Okay, what I can tell you, it's like it's the most complex topic in the field of IT. So if you, I don't know, after this DCI course, if you, I don't know, decide to go the security, it's it's a good thing. I love it. Yeah, I'm not a security guy, but I never studied that. I know a bit, so to say. Yeah, and it's a very, very interesting topic. And during this submodule, we will only barely scratch off the surface. And security, like, I mean, complex is like about everything. When I was working somewhere in a company, and it considers everything. Like it starts very very simple. Like when I'm coding things, and when I finish with that, then for example, the first thing is just log out of the system, or I don't know, don't put your system open that everyone can access that. Yeah, this starts from these very little things to very I don't know, high security stuff. And for example, I was working with some sensitive data, and the people that go behind me, they shouldn't be able to see that, you know. So it was like very protected and so on. Yeah, it could be from not seeing people what you do, or the date, what is the data, to go very secure of just hacking and so on. We're going to talk about interesting things today. Um, what you learn in this course, as I said, it's just a very barely a scratch of the surface, and we will focus on cybersecurity. We will focus on like, I don't know, how the attacks can be done and so on. We will learn how to protect, so to say, your website. A larger concept is called information security. All right, information security is it could be cyber, like cyber attacks, and physical security. For example, now my country is in a war with Israel, and I don't know if you follow news and so on, Israel started the war, and what happened? It was like the this defense system of Iran. So everything was fine. Everyone was sleeping, and the defense system of Iran is very, very like pro, but it was not working, and they just attacked, and they killed a lot of people in the sleep, and then they noticed that the system is hacked before the attack. So they went to Iran, as so to say, the people of like spies, I can say. They could come to Iran in a way, I don't know how. They could, before the attack, hack this system defense of the Iran, and it was not turned on when they just, I don't know, attacked. And then it took time and to get it back. And there was a hacker of like Iranian hacker, like say, his name, like he called it, is unknown. We don't know him still, but calls him in the social media Mr. Soul or something like that. He could bring it back. He could just again hack it back to the defense system and get it back. And then the defense system again was working, but it was bad. You call this cyber, like cyber security or cyber attacks that happens, and we will have physical securities. Physical securities could be, I don't know, anything like physical access to a server machine, documents, PCs. There are a lot of security, like physical security things. Social engineering is a topic that's considered part of cybersecurity. Okay. For example, physical attacks, like it could be like physical security. It could be like accessing really to whatever you can. Let's say there are different ways. For example, you want to go to your apartment, and behind you open the door, and behind you there is a person, like a delivery person, having pizza in their hand, like 5 and 6 of the pizza, and comes before you, when you open the door, says, "Hey, sorry, can you keep the door for me?" And it could be that they are not the delivery one, and you just let them in because you see it's a delivery pizza, and then they can, when they come in, they can access, actually they access to the apartment or to that building, and they do whatever they want after that. This is a kind of security issue, okay? Physical security, that they can access a machine, a building, or a document. There are different ways. Or it could be sometimes a physical card, a security card that's a key card, for example. Like it could be stolen, and they can access that. These are a part of physical, actually. And yeah. Let's go through a few security concepts. Many tools, lists, and organizations can support further learning. Okay, before we go to that, if you search or ask AI, if you're interested in these things, there are tools for that, where to start and so on. But before that, when you are building, because in web dev is very important that when you are building a website, web application, so to say, it's your job, actually, it's your field. You need to think about a big one, which is, we call it OWASP 10. Let's get into the OWASP 10 and let's see what is it. OWASP 10 is like, it was updated, I think last time, to 2021. And this is actually the most top 10 security issues that it can happen to your website or web application if you are not, for example, securing that, what you're building. For example, broken access control, cryptography failure, injections. This was very common, like cross-site scripting. I don't know if you've heard about it, but it's the most attacks that can happen to your website, and it's happening a lot. We call that XSS attacks, or cross-site scripting, that they inject some JavaScript or whatever into your website or database and so on. You have to make sure that you are preventing these things, and there are a bunch of them. These 10 of these things, for example, security, logging, and monitoring failures. For example, when you build a website, the first most thing is broken access control. It's like they test your website with a lot of like requests. Like they say, okay, let's make a request that someone want to join. And it's real. They test your website. They say they make a request with bad headers, with bad body request.body of the request. There will be just a bad stuff inside. They just test it. Try to test what happens to your server. And if they get a response that is very strange, they can attack your website. Yeah. So these are the most important ones that you have to learn, and not learn, you don't need to learn, so no one learns about these things because they are huge. If you even one of them want to start learning, it takes a lot of time of you to go deep inside. But we can learn that how we can protect our website from these things. At least we can make sure, okay, this cannot happen, or we make it so limited. And these are very important, okay? And maybe today I'm going to show you a bit of XSS injection just as a demo. That's the thing, OWASP. And it was changed based on 2021. So the most updated one, based on the attacks that happened. And so far, when they updated from that, nothing new came up still. But it could. Like after a couple of years, they add something new to this list. Oh, this attack also is dangerous. So be careful with that, and this is very important. We call it OWASP 10. All right. Someone want to join again?
Sorry, Jay.
Yeah.
Shinadu tried to access the lesson and told me to tell you to allow me.
I did just now.
Yeah, morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, sorry, my internet was bad. I was going to access the class.
All good, man.
Yeah, it's better now.
All right. Yeah, that's OWASP 10. So far, do you have any questions? Okay. It's annoying. One part of security is actually data. So we are starting with validation. Okay, this is the important part of your job as a developer. The data that is coming to your backend, you need to make sure it's not a dangerous data. Okay. So we call that validation. You need to validate the data that is coming. And how to validate that? It's like you need to make sure consistent data it should be a consistent data. It means like data that we can analyze and rely on. And what does it mean? This means like something like the user email at least could be an email. Like you have to make sure when a user is registering your website, they don't. You have to make sure that they don't register with something like I don't know, this thing. If they register something like that, it's not at all an email. Even these slashes, these I don't know, these signs are dangerous. We're going to talk about it soon, a bit later. But you have to make sure that this email that is coming, you just don't want to blindly just save it in your database. You have to make sure it's really an email. And or the user role is one of the recognized roles, or one of the important ones. We did this already with enum. Do you remember with enum? We didn't actually do it with the users, but we did it with something else. Who remembers the enum in the schema? Yeah, Shinizu says yes. So in a schema, we were defining something like enum, and then the enum we could define, so role, and then enum, which enum was an array, and that array we could say if it's about user, a normal user, or admin. Okay, in this case we can get track of the users. What is their role? By default everyone is a normal user, and then there are some special users that they are admin. Based on being admin or not, you can just limit access to some people, because you don't want a normal user to see other users' information. Only the admin can do that, or some specific task and so on. You will learn this during the security in the, I don't know, future days. So for example, you want to that's an example. You want to say admin / users editor. So something around something like this, it could be like admin can edit some users, and you need to make sure that if the request that is coming to edit a user, if it's a normal user, then you shouldn't allow that. A normal user cannot do this stuff. They're not allowed to do that. You need to make sure this is admin. This request that is coming from somewhere to edit someone else or to edit something, that should be an admin user to do such things. So you have to make sure that who are they. And secure data means that there is nothing suspicious in your content. Nothing suspicious is like when you have an input, when you have an input, inside of the input people can write messages, something, a text. You need to make sure inside of that there is no really strange input. Like, let's say, you need to make sure they don't use these signs, these curly braces, parentheses, because these things are writing codes. It could be injections. You have to make sure to block all of these things. And as an advanced example, it should be like they can upload, they can upload a virus, like as an image. You will learn at the end of this module like how to upload an image, and you have to make sure the image is not a dangerous image. Okay, so securing data means when the request is coming, you don't know from where the request is coming. Even if you, let me see if I talked about it a bit later. Yeah. You don't know where the data is coming, the request is coming. You have a server, we saw that. You can make a request from a curl from a terminal. You can make a request with the HTTP, this extension I use. You can make a request with Postman. Someone else can make a request with something else. Or you can make a request with your front end with Fetch. Your back end doesn't know that from where this request is coming. And you need to make sure all of these inputs, the request that is coming, you need to make sure before doing anything, check the input, check the data. Where is it coming? Is it really what you want, or is it a strange thing that is coming? Yeah. You cannot trust front end. Okay, I'm going to talk about this a bit later. And validation is about just having good data. Yeah, when we talk about validation, validating your data and so on, it's just having good data, but also considered a part of security. So when you validate the data, it's just kind of you doing a security. Yeah, it's so important that when you're responding back or when you send a response with understandable error messages, this is important. That was why when we send them like an error, like with next, with a status, with a right correct message, it's so important that you do that. For example, imagine you are building a login system. Now we will have it in the future again. And the user types email and password. And one of them is wrong. Let's say they put the email is correct, your system checks the email is correct, but the password is wrong. What do you send as a message to the front end as a response? You don't want to send a message like, hey, the password is wrong, because it's bad. Who knows it's bad if you just answer something like this?
Maybe the user is just guessing that he got the right email.
Sorry, Isa?
I said maybe the user is just guessing, then he got the right email, and then he
Fantastic. That's the point. That's why when you have you seen it when you try to log in some websites, you have some account and you forget your password, the message they give you, it's not like your email is wrong or your password is wrong. They tell you like this: your email or your password is wrong. It could be one of them is correct, but they don't tell you which one is wrong exactly, because it's a security issue. It's like you telling your password is correct, it's fine, but the email is wrong, or your email is correct, the password is wrong. You never want to do that, because it's just narrows down the attack so much easier. All right, so the messaging is very important. And but you also don't actually want to reveal details about your application. When you are sending an error message or something, yeah, as a response, you shouldn't reveal some information. The message that you are sending, it should be very, very like understandable, but you're not revealing some information. For example, stack traces reveal a lot of information. What is a stack trace, guys? Have you heard about it so far? Oh no, that's bad. How they did you didn't hear about it? So Have you seen when an error happens in your terminal? And I say, hey guys, show your error. Yeah? And then it shows in which file is happening, in which line is happening. Have you seen that? This we call it stack trace. Stack trace means stack by stack or step by step, so to say, you're tracing the error. Yeah? You do not want to send this entire error, because you've seen that what we do, we just send in our next that we send an error to global error handler, we send as like that, a status, let's say, I don't know, 400, and then a message. Then whatever is the error dot message. Look at that. We just send the error dot message, the message of the error. Okay, that is not that is undefined. Or error line 5, something happened. Whatever. The stack trace, the entire error, including stack trace. It includes the message. It includes your files, which file you have, which structure you have. This is bad. You don't want to send the entire error to your front end, because it really will show, oh, there is some information, how your file looks like, or how is the structural folder of your backend. That is bad. That's why we just send only the message of the error. Okay. Is an information leak which reveals information while not allow it. Attacker really. That you don't want to send the. It may also allow so it can table names. Truths and if you and it could be shown version you use, because the using Node version they use you get always up and they try because of that. Not all of them just try to attack. Wrong. No. It exactly okay in your .in. If you an error, give you some information like whatever you have. Oh, connection is straight ahead. I don't know, and then just I don't know, ruin your website and your database. Be careful with that. I was in the classes like I was in some classes, like they were not my classes. I was just going there as a substitute because the teacher was, I don't know, sick or whatever, holiday. I've seen that they were building their projects, final projects. I've seen everyone was sending the entire error, the stack trace, to the front end. That was horrible. I was telling them, it's you do not want to do that. The stack trace is for you. You can console log it in your terminal to see if the error is happening, yeah? But you do not want to send it to the front end. That is dangerous. So be careful with that. And guys, these things that I'm talking about, it's important, okay? Because I really take one day of these things in my class that you know it. So please listen carefully, because from tomorrow that you start doing, you know what you're doing. You know what I mean? It's not like we go straight ahead to coding. It's very important. So importance of server validation. Do not trust client. That's my always sentence. Okay? Do not trust your client. What does that mean? You have an endpoint, something like this, /API/user or whatever, to save that's a post method for saving a user in your database. And the data is coming in the rec.body. Okay, fantastic, you save it, send the response, and that's it. How do you know this rec.body that is coming? It's very good data. It's not malicious data. It's not, I don't know, a broken data inside. Okay? Before doing anything, you have to make sure the rec.body, this object data, or whatever it's about user, it could be email inside, it's a really clean data. Okay? The reason that I'm telling do not trust the client or do not trust the front end is like, even if you actually check the password strength in the front end. Let's say in your front end you have an input, the registration, and putting password there, the user for registration, you check the password, yeah, it's a strong, perfect, and so on. Even if you do that in the front end can and will be bypassed. So easily they can bypass your front end, whatever you do as a security, checking if condition, that and that. It easily can be bypassed. Okay, so because the reason is that not all of the requests always come from your front end. Yeah, if all the requests coming from your front end, like your website, people do some inputs there, and then you can do checking. Yeah, that would be okay, fine. You can do this security, almost you could say fine. But you don't know from where this request is coming. It can come from a curl request. It can come from a postman. It can come from a HTTP request that I use. It can come everywhere. And there is no front end to check this stuff. Okay? For example, it's irritating me, this slowness of the computer. It was not like that. For example, let's go to not go, Google. You can make requests everywhere that it allows you to type JavaScript, yeah, or it allows you to make a request. I can make a request in the console here, like with a normal fetch request. So I can say fetch. Oops. I can say fetch. Yeah, fetch, I don't know, Amazon.com or whatever. Despite you have course error, but if you are inside of the Amazon.com, you can make a request to Amazon.com. Let's go, because we need to be really in a same origin. So I'm inside of the Amazon.com and I wanna make this request. You can see the request went and there is no course policy, but it was just something else with the JS error and something. It's just something else, like about couldn't load the image, but there is no course policy error, and it could pass the request. Okay, the Amazon doesn't know that I'm doing this from the console of my browser. This request is coming from the console of the browser. They don't know. Or I can make this request to from a, I don't know, Postman. So if you even do a very good checking in your, like Amazon has a very good checking in the front end when they want to register or something, it can be really bypassed. Just normally I want to register from the console. If I do that, it's just the checking is passed. Yeah. So do not trust the front end, because you don't need to do anything in the front end. The front end can be really bypassed. All right. Yeah, as we talked about it, the backend cannot know for sure where the request is coming from. It could be someone using a backend curl. You saw my notes. Where was my notes? I missed it. It could be someone using your backend with curl, with Postman, pretending to be your front end. All right. So do not trust again your front end. Or someone will try to register with a broken email to crash your server. As I said, they try to, let's say, in your email field, they try to do something like this. That's my email. Yeah? If you just take it like this and just register it in your website, it could crash your website. All right. Or someone try to add content to break your app, like adding a picture to your database. Yeah. Yeah. This is these things that can happen. I want to demonstrate just like kind of attack that you may see. You don't need to code with me, okay? Just give me a moment. Where is the... prepared last night a file. Where is it? Yeah. This is a just normal input. Let's say for typing a message, you have a message board or whatever. Let me put it here. All right, it's a very simple code. It's just a simple HTML code. Let me show you the code also that you can see. It's just a normal HTML. I'm making a request to our server localhost 777 API messages to get messages, okay? And there's a function to getting the messages, and then appending it to this message div with this ID. I'm gonna put in all the messages here, if there's a messages in my database. And this is a function for sending a message, for saving a message in our database, which is I'm trying to make a fetch request to our API URL for creating a post. The method is post, and headers, content type application JSON, and body of the request, we stringify that and we pass the message, whatever it is, to save it to the database. Okay, that's a very simple page, so to say. Okay, let's test it. Hi, this is your website, a very nice word message website. If I refresh it, it's connected to the like database, sending, and so on. And there are really very common. It's like let me put you here. I can see you if you ask a question. I don't see you. There are very common that people that come just to check your website security and so on, and they come and just say, okay, let me try something with script. So that's a script tag, and inside you can write JavaScript. Yeah, let's type alert function 1, 2, 3. They're gonna try this and let's see. Okay, it seems nothing happened. It doesn't work. All right. Okay, let me try something else. Let me try if I can use HTML tags. So if I say B, which bolding something, hello, then B. Oh, it seems working. It seems I can kind of inject some stuff. The bolding is working. Let me try something else. Let's have an image tag. Are images self-closing? It's like something like this, I think. So the images have a src. Let's see if we can inject some picture. Do you know a website to use a random picture? Okay, pick some dot photos, and then we can pick some dot photos. Yeah, let's test it. https:// pick some dot photos. What was it? Pick some dot photos / and then the size. All right. /100. Oh, let's test it. All right. It's interesting. We can inject some picture to the database. And now imagine, this is a very tiny picture and it's a very clean picture, okay? It's inside of my database now. If I refresh, you can see it's there. What if this picture was very big? Like a very, I don't know, high quality of very 5,000 pixels and so on. It could make my website to load forever, to load this picture, because it takes time. Or it's too heavy for your database. We don't want to save pictures in the database. We don't do that. We will learn where to save it. But anyway, what happens to your website is it will load forever. Yeah, they can just ruin your website. And what if, let's test something else. Let's test another image, and then src https:// picsum.photos/100. All right. And what if we can somehow trigger to run the script some functions, because we were using the script tag and it was not working. It kind of was a built-in security in the browser. What if I do something like unload? The unload is like unclick. It's a handler in the JavaScript. This means when the image is loading, and then it receives a string, but it could be a function. Yeah. You can run a function, so just alert. I'm not sure if it's working, it just came to my mind, let's test it. Alert 1, 2, 3. Oh, you see it's just injected something into the website that everyone else coming to your website, let's say someone else coming to your website, bang, they receive this one as soon as the page is loading. Imagine they put a function like that, and in your database, when someone visits your website, instead of alerting, they just run some script to steal some information about the user, like the local storage or some cookies and so on. This can happen, okay? This is real, that the people is going to do that. Also, let's test something else. There are special characters that you have to make sure they, because the script tag, these things, like, or these things, they are dangerous, because with these things you can write functions, parentheses, and so on. You have to make sure that you block such things. Where's my notes? I missed my notes. Yeah, for example, with something like this, let's test it. Ampersand, LT, and colon. Look how it looks. They can replace, if this is like is not allowed in the browsers, they can trick the browser with this way. They type something like this, and then it means like a script. This opening tag, so to say. Or let me test something else. I think the closing tag also, they have it. Less than, greater than, I think this one. Yeah, see? Or check 1, 2, 3, and this. See? This is a curly braces, this one. So this is very dangerous, and it can really happen to your website. You have to make sure at least that you can block such things. You can say, I don't want these strange parentheses or slash or whatever that is normal text, because normal text is just a letter. You don't want to allow parentheses. You don't want to allow these tags that they can put HTML or some JavaScript inside. You have to think about such things too. At least we can block such things. Okay, is that interesting to you? Is it clear what I'm doing? All right. Yeah, that was just a demo that this exists. All right. By the way, what I was doing during this demo, we call that XSS injection or cross-site scripting. And this was so common before 2021. It was so common. Like, yeah, there was a lot of attacks like this. And let's have another example. Like cross-site scripting exists. Okay. As a real example, imagine like getting a script to run when someone views a forum comment. What does that mean? When you go to a website, there's a forum, people put comments there and so on. And if you are able to inject some JavaScript in the comments, for example, could steal their login or pretend to be them. Yeah, how does that work? For example, a very mini theoretical example, it could be like, imagine you're visiting a GitHub repository. Yeah, in the GitHub, it's for someone, a project there, and you open the README file of them to read what is it about the project and so on. What if they injected some JS code or functions? When you just see this README file, it runs behind the scene. Okay. And anyone that is viewing this README file in the GitHub repository, they behind the scene it will run a JS code. Okay, that JS code, it could be just a simple redirect. It just redirects the user to another website. Yeah, and that redirect, it could be something like this: the GitHub.com bot, they redirect you to something like this: Sony.account. This and .com. It looks like it's coming from Sony. Yeah, because this thing you have to make sure, because you've received a lot of emails like this, or your password, you have to check, you have to log in again. Make sure it's coming from Sony account. Make sure that the link is not just kind of strange. But let's say there are a lot of people, they don't know about such things. Normal people, they don't know, and it's happening still. And they redirect you to a page, something like that, and guys, I missed my notes. Sorry. Let me open my notes again. What? The speed is very slow, and I need to change my, I think for the tomorrow I need to change to that little laptop that I have. Nothing is working. Okay, where was I? Yeah. Sorry. Okay, they redirect to something like this, and this shows for additional security. Okay, and they tell you something, a message like, please log in, we're doing some security stuff, we are Sony and whatever. Very, very compelling message that it can, you think that, oh, I need to log in now to, I don't know, to secure my Sony account. And users enter their GitHub username and password on the fake site, okay, because they think they are still in the GitHub, yeah, but they redirect them to somewhere else like Sony account, but they show you a Sony account or a Sony account. The users they say, oh, I need to log into my Sony account. They put username and password. That's a fake website. And when they put their credentials there, when they click on it, it's exactly looking, that website exactly looking like a Sony login page. Yeah, you don't even notice it. And when you put the information there, as soon as you click to log in, what happens behind the scene? It's gonna send your information to the attacker, like to their backend, to their database system, and they have access to your password and everything. Yeah, this can happen. I did this even to my friends with their Instagram account. I'm gonna explain you how. And fake sites, it steals the info and redirects the user back. Yeah, as soon as you just click on that, they redirect you back to the GitHub, and you even don't notice it, what happened. And oh my god. And never, user never notices their credential got stolen. Okay, this is why. We use, this is why actually we cannot allow injections. Let me put this here. So we cannot allow anyone to inject their own JS on our page. So you have to make sure the inputs that you have or whatever, you secure that. And always when you are registering somewhere, in every account, I don't know, in every website, whatever it is, make sure you use multi-factor authentication everywhere. Do you know what is a multi-factor authentication? Please come on. You need to know this. If you don't know this, then if you haven't heard about this, then I don't know how you secure your password. I can wait till tomorrow. I need answers. If you don't know, I need to tell you. Alright, Shinidu.
Like password.
Azam, like what?
Passwords or phone numbers.
Exactly. Multi-factor authentication. It could be like, yeah, you have a password inside, you log in, you set a password. Fantastic. It's one authentication. The second authentication, you've seen that, like a crypto websites, the good ones, they tell you also add your phone, or because it's the second one, a multi-factor. When you log in, they send you another SMS, and they say, okay, give us the code that we send it you. Even if someone access to the password of your, let's say Gmail or whatever account you have, if you have multi-factor like an SMS, then they don't have access to the SMS code. Yeah, they could access to the Gmail password, not SMS code. They cannot get in. Or an email verification code is coming. Yeah, these we call it a multi-factor. There are tons of ways nowadays that you can do. One of the like most common one is like email verification code that they send after login. All right. Does everyone know what this line do? I want you to read it and just guess what does it do. I see some reactions of Any guess? Like, it's just it's not realistic, okay? But the reality can something like this happen behind the scene. When you visit a website, like as an example, you said like in the GitHub account of a repository, you check something in the README. Behind the scene, sneakily they run a fetch something like this. What does that mean? What could that mean?
It protects the data from getting steal or something.
It
Protects the data.
it does with what? With data?
Protects.
No. Let's say, so the fetch, that's a function, you know it. The fetch function is making a request. Yeah, the request could be post for sending, get for getting, and let's say the URL, the where that they wanna like make it, the request is just jayshack.com/steal, whatever. It's just like a placeholder, but something like that. And a post, the method is post. This means they wanna send some data somewhere. Where? To this endpoint. It's a server from the hacker or whatever. What they do is the local storage. You have to listen, check this. They can take your local storage, whatever is saved there. It could be anything, I don't know, any information. Take it and send it to themselves. Yeah, they can steal your local storage in this way. And you don't want to do this because sometimes in the local storage there are some IDs, some tokens there saved, could be, and it's dangerous. That's why you have to make sure that no one can make this such a functions or a request when you visit their website. Yeah, I wanted to talk about a bit of Facebook tracking. Do you know how Facebook tracks people, like gathering information about them? No? Anything you've heard?
Cookies? No.
Yeah, it's one of the ways. But how they do it actually? Yeah, exactly, cookies. We will learn about cookies in the very last day of this module. But the way that the Facebook tracking works is like, let's say you visit a barbecue barbecue.com website. Yeah, the developers of the barbecue website, they have a very little tiny picture, like let's say something like that, an image tag which is like src equals to https facebook.com. It's a very one pixel, or just even it's hidden. It's a very little tiny image from Facebook. This is a special image that Facebook gave the developer of the barbecue.com. Yeah, the barbecue.com asking Facebook, hey, I want to track my users and so on. The Facebook says, okay, put this little tiny picture somewhere in your website, just hide it, and that's enough. Not that easy, as simple as that, but it's there should be, so there is need for implementation, but it's exactly like this. They give you an image or a little tiny screen. They put it into the website, and when you just visit this website, and so, oh, someone is visiting the barbecue.com, and so when you visit behind the scene, this little tag, this little picture takes a bit information, and sends this information, whatever about you that you just visit. It could be inside of cookies, local storage. Even if you are logged in at the same time, logged in your Facebook, they know exactly who you are. In the browser, you are in one tab logged in the Facebook, and another tab you're visiting barbecue.com. Then they know exactly who you are. They say, Mickey from, I don't know, from you are, let's say from Germany, and then this is the IP address, this is the browser they use, Google Chrome and so on, is visiting barbecue.com. This will be sending to the Facebook this information through this picture. The Facebook gathers that, okay, Mickey likes barbecue.com, and Facebook, what it does is like selling this information to the owner of barbecue.com. It says Mickey is located, like, I don't know, near your shop, somewhere there, and her age is 20 years old, and she's living in Berlin, likes your website barbecue.com, and visiting chickens. Even they can see what page you are visiting, like what product you are visiting, and even they can see how long you stayed in that page. Let's say you're checking a chicken, I don't know, spicy, and you are just staying there a bit more. This means you like chicken, and they gather this little information about you, and they send it to the barbecue.com and say, okay, this person likes chicken. You can, the next time barbecue, when you visit their website, they show you, barbecue, chicken, angibos, and so on. Okay, that's how these things works behind the scene. And let's say another place, you go to I don't know, Amazon. Definitely they have Amazon.com. Definitely they have some image tag from the Facebook in their website. When you visit them, the Amazon gathering information about the visitors, because if you are selling something, it's important for you as an owner of that business to know your customers. Let's say if you have a like product, like you're selling, let's say cats, I don't know, and when the people visiting your website, you need to know which cat or cat accessories you're selling, which cat accessories they're visiting more in your website, or what is the gender of your customers, they are females more or men, and what they really like more about your website, which product. when you gather this information, Facebook gives you this information with this. If you implement in your website, then you know, okay, people visited a lot these tools, this toy of my cat website. Then I need to show it more to the customers. I need to show the different kinds of this tool, like, or toy, to the customers, that they see my website. This is so important for them. That's why they do it. Also, Google Analytics, there is something that Google Analytics does the same thing. And they have also the same system of, like Facebook, that gathering information about you. And if you put the Google Analytics in your website, even you are having more information, because most of the people are logged in. Myself, I'm always logged in the browser, in the Gmail. And when I'm logged in the Gmail, I'm visiting everywhere. Every website we go. And Google exactly knows a Gmail like Jacob Pontrada is visiting ASOS.de, is visiting ChatGPT, is visiting everywhere. This information is gathering and sold. They sell it to everyone that they need it. Right? And then I receive a lot of advertisement based on my search. That's how they do it. All right? I hope these things is interesting. Is it clear? Okay. Google Analytics, yeah, I talked about it. Let me put it this actually here, that it exists, or something like that. Yeah, multi-factor. We go to a break now. Let's go to a break. Yeah, let's go to a break. I have a lot more to talk about. Security concept and so on. Let's be back in 15 minutes. See you soon. All right.